Hi everyone, this is Andrew at Plainview Farm, and in this video I'm going to turn about $100 worth of lumber and hardware into a 4x5 round bale feeder. So I've already pre-cut all of my lumber, and this is all 2x6 pressure treated lumber that I got at the hardware store. And I've already got it all pre-cut to size, which I will include a link in the description below where you can get the materials list and all that information. It's not a link to anyone trying to sell you anything. It's just simply a list of my materials. But as I was saying, I've got everything pre-cut and I'm gonna build it on this trailer. This is a good flat spot and it's already here, so I figured why not go ahead and use it. So as I said, this is all 2x6 pressure treated lumber. If you have ornery cattle, you may need to beef it up a little bit, change the plans around, however works best for you. But my cows do pretty good. They're not too rough on things. Now the legs for the feeder are these right here. They're 3 foot tall. And of course, if you have tall cattle, you may need to extend the length of it a little bit. Whatever works best for you. All of my cows are low lines, so they're short. They don't need a really tall feeder. So I'm going to start by laying out the sides here. And what we're going to do, actually, in order to make this a little bit easier to see what's going on, we'll build it this way and then we can flip it around. We'll start by squaring things up. And I'm holding everything together with 3-inch structural screws. I'm starting out just with a couple to hold everything together, and I'll get it all secure a little bit later on. Now, of course, whenever you are dealing with treated lumber, it's going to shrink on you. So perfectly square generally will not remain perfectly square. So square-ish works. All right, look at that. We're still 60 inches. So one of the things I'm going to do on the skids down here is I'm going to drop them a 1/2 inch below the edge of the post to give them a little bit of wear room. There's a screw that doesn't have any threads. That's handy. And you know what? I said this was the side. This is not the side. This is the end. I've actually got the skids on the end, and I'll kind of explain why here in just a second. So with this being so short, it makes it a little more difficult for to have space for the animals to stick their head up in there and get what they need. So I've got the skids on, like I said, the end instead of on the sides, and the bales are I guess, wider this direction than they are the other. So, you know, we've got to make sure we've got our dimensions right on the end of the bale in order for it to set in the cradle properly. So that, you know, everything works like it's supposed to. So this board right here is the one that is going to hold the weight of the bale. This board will set at 24 inches from the top. I don't know, maybe doing this on the trailer wasn't the best idea. So, this is the first end, and this is the inside of it. So we will now build basically a mirror image of this right here. I'll tell you what we'll do. In order to do that, we'll just lay that down and build directly on top of it. Okay, so here we are. Two ends. I need to turn them toward one another. All right, the two ends of our hay rack. How about that? So now hopefully what I'm doing, if it hasn't yet, will start to make a little bit of sense to you. So as I said, you know, as is the nature of treated lumber, you know, this hay rack being perfectly square is not critical. It just needs to do the job. And of course, the ground that it's going to be sitting on is not flat and level. So, you know, you just do what you can with what you have. I'm a firm believer in function over form. Really doesn't matter how pretty it is, as long as it gets the job done. You know what I mean? Okay, so now that we've got our frame mostly set up-ish, I'm gonna come over on one side and I'm gonna mark the center of the board, and then we're gonna come out and set our, I don't know what you'd call them, it's almost like you were hanging joists. And so there's going to be 24 inches between each joist. So what I did in order to do that, to find where those are both going to be, is I marked my center, which again, this is 60 inches wide. And I set the 12-inch mark on my tape at my center mark. And then I mark both ends, at the end of the tape, and then 24 inches. So since this is 60 inches wide, our joists, for lack of a better term, are going to be 57 inches. So I said 24 inches between them. I'm not centering. The joists here on the line. What these are going to be is outside edge to outside edge is 24 inches. So I guess that means 21 inches between them. All right, now that the screws are in place, we're gonna use some nails to finish the job. So the last thing we need to put on here is our dividers to keep the cows from, I guess, butting one another. Somewhat, I guess. They're still going to fight whenever they're eating. But these dividers, again, give them different spaces, kind of help designate the spaces that they will claim for their own. And you can use a 2x4, get a 12-foot 2x4. Ought to get the lengths that you need. I ended up just ripping down 2x6 in order to cut the pieces that I need. But a 2x4 would probably work just as good, if not better. So we're going to put 19 inches, with this being 57. You divide that by 3, it's 19 inches between our openings. What would that be? 38. Yep. And I am going to center these in their gaps. Now I will tell you, the fit right here is not, you know, a nice finish fit that you would expect if you were doing a bunch of joints. This is merely, again, to serve its purpose. Its function is greater than form here. Well, there you have it, my 4x5 round bale feeder that we're going to use to feed hay this winter. Again, if you want to see the full materials list, check out the link in the description below. As always, I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. I think that's probably about the nicest hay feeder ever built, if I do say so myself.